Module 7.3, Converting Within Measurement Systems. Using a model to convert units. The two most common systems of measurement are the customary system and the metric system. In the United States of America, we use the customary system. Customary would be feet, inches, like if we're running a distance, we talk about miles, where a metric would be using kilometers. You can use a model to convert from one unit to another within the same measurement system. So we could draw a picture. We know that 1 yard equals 3 feet. So if you look at the image, each yard has 3 feet that equals it. So if I have 2 yards, that would equal 6 feet. 3 yards, 9 feet, and so on. So we could fill this out. 1 yard, 3 feet, like that. So it's easy to draw a picture. But is it always the best method to convert one unit to a different unit? Another way is you could rewrite as ratios. So let's say I want to know how many feet would equal 2 yards. I would use the information of 3 feet equals 1 yard, or one yard equals 3 feet. We write yards on the bottom, feet on top. And again, you can also switch it, where 1 yard's on top, 3 feet's on the bottom, but then the 2 yards would be on top also. So I'm showing how to change 2 yards into 6 feet and 3 yards into 9 feet. You could set up a proportion. So far, one way to convert them is to model it. For every yard equals 3 feet, you can model that. Another way is to set up your proportions. Now, since 1 yard equals 3 feet, the ratio of feet to yards in any measurement is always 3 to 1. This means any ratio forming a proportion of 3 to 1 can represent a ratio of feet to yards. So if you see 3 over 1 equals 12 over 4, then you know the relationship of 3 feet to 1 yard. That means that 12 represents feet, so it would be 12 feet equals 4 yards. Another ratio, if I gave you the ratio of 1 to 12, what measurements have a relationship of 1 to 12? 1 foot equals 12 inches. So if you see a ratio of 1 to 12, you know that the 1 represents feet and then the 12 represents inches. So now let's solve this example. What is the weight of a 3-pound human brain in ounces? Use a proportion to convert pounds to ounces. Make sure you know that 1 pound equals 16 ounces. You do need to know that relationship to be able to solve this question. So we could set up our proportion. The relationship of 1 pound equals 16 ounces, we would write on top of each other. 3 pounds, the human brain weight, 3 pound would also go on top with the pounds. And what I don't know is the bottom. So now let's solve this proportion. I know that 1 times 3 is 3, so 16 times 3 is 48, and the label is ounces. So let's look at number 2. The height of a doorway is 2 yards. What's the height of the doorway in inches? So I need to know the relationship of yards to inches. I know that 1 yard equals 36 inches. So I write that relationship on top of each other, 1 yard over 36 inches. 2 yards goes on top with the yards, and I don't know the bottom. So we could finish this proportion by multiplying top and bottom terms both by 2. So 2 yards equals 72 inches. Now, so the different ways to convert measurements, one is to model, and the second way is to set up a proportion. So here's the third way. The third way is to convert units by using a conversion factor. Now, conversion factor is a new vocabulary word. It's a ratio comparing two equivalent measurements. So 3 feet equals blank inches. Remember that a factor is a number being multiplied to get the product. So what can I multiply the number by to convert it? So let's take a look. 3 feet, I want to convert that into inches. So what rate could I multiply 3 feet by to convert feet into inches? So I want to convert 3 feet into inches. I know the relationship is 1 foot equals 12 inches. If I want to convert 3 feet into inches, which rate should I multiply 3 feet with to make it into inches? So you might be a little confused right now, so I'm going to show you some examples. So the conversion factor that you could use to change 3 feet into inches is either multiplying 3 feet by, would you multiply 3 feet by 1 foot over 12 inches or 12 inches over 1 foot? Which conversion factor above would you use? So I want you to look at the 2 examples I'm asking you to choose. If you were to put it up where that red arrow is, which one do you think you would use to multiply 3 feet by to convert it into inches? Think about the rules of multiplication with fractions. What would cancel something out to change it into inches? Hopefully you picked. Last chance. So look at now A and B. The answer is B. Now, why do you think it's B and not A? If you notice, we talked about when you multiply with fractions, see if you could simplify anything in the numerator versus denominator. Now here, you notice that the label feet is in the numerator, label feet's in the denominator. We can actually cancel those labels out. And when you do that, so the reason why you would use 12 inches over 1 foot as a conversion factor, it would cancel the feet out and change it to inches. So when I cancel it, now we just multiply across. The answer is 36 inches. 3 feet is 36 inches. Let's look at another example. Elena wants to buy 2 gallons of milk, but can only find quart containers for sale. How many quarts does she need? Use a conversion factor. We know that 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. So how many would 2 gallons? Now I know that this question is very easy. You can just solve it mentally, but the direction asks you to use a conversion factor. So what can you multiply 2 gallons by to convert it into quarts? Now make sure you use the relationship 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. So let's look. 2 gallons over 1 times what? So how would you write 1 gallon? Would it be 1 gallon over 4 quarts, or would you multiply 2 gallons by 4 quarts over 1 gallon? And the answer is you multiply by 4 quarts over 1 gallon because you want to cancel the gallons out. And when you do that, you multiply across 8 quarts. So 2 gallons equals 8 quarts. Now, go ahead and try number 4. An oak tree is planted when it's 250 centimeters tall. What is the height in meters? Know that 1 meter is 100 centimeters. Use a conversion factor. So you multiply 250 centimeters over 1 times the 1 meter goes on top, 100 centimeters goes on the bottom to cancel the centimeters out. The conversion factor I would use is multiply by 1 meter over 100 centimeters. So now we cancel out the centimeters, multiply across, we get 250 over 100 meters, and the answer is 2.5 meters. When you divide 250 by 100, you get 2.5. And that's it. Feel free to go back and watch the video again. You can always try the problems again on your own. See if you can get it.